Alright, welcome to the AD2L Entry Division Playoffs. This is the second week of playoffs, and Thundercats and STFU both managed to receive a bye. So this is their first set of playoff games. And remember, whichever team loses this series, which is a best of 3, they are eliminated from this tournament. Thundercats were last season's champions, and we'll see if they're going to be able to bring a repeat performance this season. Or if maybe STFU will take down the former champions and blaze their own way to the grand finals. Both of these teams, though, regardless of the outcome, have quite a ways to go before they finally get there. And these first two bans are pretty interesting. Spirit Breaker and Bounty Hunter both banned out. Very, very early game, very, very aggro-centric supports. And roaming supports have become extremely popular, so to see them removed isn't awfully surprising, especially considering that they just mid lane is so important. If you lose mid lane in this patch, it's devastating. And with a support like Spirit Breaker or Bounty Hunter on the enemy team, it becomes really hard to move around the map safely. And Omni Knight actually taken out by Thundercats, the support very, very defensive, but these teams have been scrimming each other recently, to my knowledge, so perhaps STFU, Omni Knight might have been something that they've been practicing quite a bit. Maybe we're banking on it. And Death Prophet, completely understandable ban, but now Invoker and Outworld, two extremely popular heroes left in the pool. Do Thundercats value them, though? I know Invoker has a 93% pick ban rate in the AD2L, so he is ignored in 7% of games. Maybe this is one of those situations. But Earth Spirit, Oracle, Chen, Lone Druid, a plethora of strong heroes remaining in the pool for Thundercats and STFU to utilize. And there's the Earth Spirit from Thundercats, an extremely potent roaming support. The typical build is you start rolling Boulder and an Orb of Venom, go to mid, and make the opposing mid's life just a nightmare, as well as the enemy safe lane. He forces rotations out very quickly and scales really well into the late game. So STFU, they have a lot of options. I think Oracle would be a good response. But they could also grab the Invoker, who was left in by Thundercats. He might want to go across West build just so he has that escape and more control, so that you can try to maybe survive a little bit better up against this Earth Spirit, who is very likely going to be applying a lot of pressure. But STFU going to open with an Ember Spirit. This hero is very slippery and very valued in the AD2L. He's not in the top 10 most picked, but he is actually pretty frequently banned, and STFU going to pick him up here in the first phase. So they definitely know what they want, grabbing an Ember this early into the game, into the draft, but this gives Thundercats the opportunity to counter pick to it. They're going to maybe want... I mean, Earth Spirit's not even bad against Ember. There's a lot of control. The silencers are really good against Ember Spirit because then he can't jump away from the fights. So, but the Flame Guard is going to be good. Going to be a very useful tool against the Earth Spirit's entirely magic damage kit. So STFU could go. This could be the mid, but I would rather see it safe lane. It's going to be pretty vulnerable to a mid. Like an Ember up against any of the really popular mids now has a pretty rough time. So STFU, they could grab Vengeful Spirit too. I would like to see that. It's an extremely strong hero. It's probably one of the best supports right now. And Magic Missile is just such an incredibly good spell. It's a massive nuke and would provide lots of kill potential for everyone on their side of the map. And you can't undervalue Swap, and this will allow you to save your Ember if he gets jumped on by the Earth Spirit. So there's a lot of reasons, I believe, to pick up the Venge. Plus, if Thundercats get it, then their aggro support duo is going to be really good. But instead, they're going to go with their own support, but Thundercats don't even have to think about picking up the OD. Interesting tidbit, they actually run this in the safe lane more often than not, but if this is going mid up against the Ember Spirit, that's going to be a nightmare lane for him, and they're going to be, STFU, going to be forced to keep someone in that mid to babysit the Ember. Invoker's still there, but likely to be banned out, and Batrider removed by Thundercats. It is possible STFU were looking for it, and I think it is a good ban. It would be pretty scary to play up against. Earth Spirit is decent against it, but if Vengeful Spirit gets banned, the best counter to bat is removed. I think they could have let the bat through on it. Actually, I think they really could have let the bat through. They've got Earth Spirit, Stun, Silence. OD can banish the bat or the person who's being lassoed. So there were a lot of... They already had, with just those two heroes, lots of answers for the bat. But again, it all comes down to the ability to play. If that Bat Rider executed really well, it would have been extremely difficult and could have set up for some really incredible kills on this for ST. And now they're going to be ST going to be banning out the Vengeful Spirit, and TC going to ban out the Night Stalker. So Night Stalker has remained not super popular, but modestly so in both the offlane and the support roles. So it's a decent ban, especially if they're afraid of early aggression. And with their bans, it kind of seems as if they might be. The Omni Knight being the only one who isn't terribly strong in the early stages of the game, but the Earthshaker are going to be the last ban. Actually, one of the most popular heroes in the AD2L is this Earthshaker, so not an uncommon pick or ban here at this level of play. And now it's ST's turn to pick. There is still Invoker currently being ignored by both teams. And ST going to grab into Abaddon. That's going to be great against this Earth Spirit. The ability to purge off, if he doesn't get caught by the Earth Spirit's control, that is, he's going to be able to purge off a lot of control disables on the Ember Spirit. And that hero is one that, if you can't lock him down, does massive damage in fights and will wreak havoc on your team. But Thundercats, they have lots of ways. They could pick an Ancient Apparition. That's very scary for STFU. Ancient Apparition would be really good against their team. Would stop split push if Ember wanted to do it. And would be really hard for the Witch Doctor and Abaddon to play up against. But they're going to grab the Darkseer first. So there's still a possibility of an Ancient Apparition. Unless ST won it. But I really don't like it with their draft. And Thundercats, I do know that Carwizzle, who is their offlane player, is very good at this Darkseer. And it is possible that we'll see Thundercats grab something like a Puck, because they really do like to play this OD in the safe lane. And then grab like a less greedy mid-hero like the Puck to kind of complement their team and just let the OD carry into the late. But ST, I think they're going to need... I think the Abaddon is off lane. They could grab Invoker, put it mid, and then safe lane the Ember. I think that is the way better play. But they're going to grab an Oracle. So, yeah, Thundercats, if they pick Ancient Apparition, is probably the best support pick for them right now. I really urge them to pick that hero, but maybe they have something else in mind. And yeah, the AA was an extremely telegraphed pick, and STFU, suddenly all of their heroes looking a little bit less not viable, but looking a little bit less... What's the word I'm looking for? A little less, usable? No. Well, certainly things are looking grim. That Thundercats draft is looking very, very strong. And STFU have a strong draft of their own, but that Ancient Apparition counters virtually everything that they have, except this Ember Spirit, who deals with it rather well, but is a very, very squishy hero regardless. He does have Flame Guard to deal with it, but no Voodoo Restoration, no Mist Coil, no Borrowed Time, no Purifying Flames, and no False Promise. Most of these heroes have ways to deal with it, like Abaddon still has Shield. Oracle still has his, False Promise? No, Fate's Edict. Fate's Edict, does give magic immunity. So he could save himself, but the duration of Ice Blast is always at every rank, and once, especially if he gets Ags, it will always be longer at every rank than Oracle's False Promise. So Ancient Apparition really taking, like, if you get hit by the Ice Blast during the False Promise, you'll never get the ability to survive the False Promise, or you'll at least never heal from it. But the last two bans, Razor and Dragon Knight, two tanky mid heroes or two tanky cores who will build, who like to group up and push early. So both these teams are really trying to take out those tempo controlling heroes. But STFU probably looking for their mid here, and Invoker ignored still. Could be a good pick for them. It would at least, okay, Invoker would at least give them control in fights and give them the ability to take fights. But there's not really a hero I can think of that's like, we can now change the face of this game thanks to our Invoker. Or whatever this hero is, I should say. I got a little sidetracked. I just have Invoker on the mind, but this is going to be a mid lane Ember Spirit and a safe lane Bristle. So, It's okay. But certainly, almost regardless of what Thundercats pick, which could be a mid or a safe lane, again, they have played the OD in the safe lane a number of times. In fact, every time I have cast for them, they have run the OD in the safe lane. But they could also pick a very hefty carry like a Medusa or a Morphling. They like these really big, beefy carries that are hard to bring down. And that's just something that Snarf really plays very, very well. And Thundercats have been on a roll using that kind of strategy, so we'll see. They could run this OD as their carry and grab like a Puck, a hero that I know their mid player loves to play and has played to great effect in the past. It would also provide a ton of control for this Bristleback, who's already going to have kind of a rough time getting kited up against the Earth Spirit, the OD, the Darkseer, some of the Ice Vortex. Queen of Pain wouldn't be a bad choice either if they were afraid they were lacking damage. It also combos great with the Darkseer, provides some global ganking presence with Ancient Apparition. And Zeus, also a very good pick. It will lane up very, very well against the Ember Spirit, at least for the first, at least it'll trade farm. Invoker will probably win the lane with just his right clicks. But Thundercat's really thinking about this. So they are, if they're looking for a safe lane, I would like to see Morphling. There's virtually no control on the side of EST for it. And if they're looking for a mid hero, I mean, they could grab the Invoker themselves. That's not terribly unlikely. Or Puck would also be, or Queen of Pain. Honestly, there's a lot Thundercats have open to them. Their draft is very well constructed, and the draft of ST is going to suffer up against it. Not to say that they cannot win this game. It will come down to execution. It is possible if ST snowball early, get this Ember Spirit a nice lead, get Witch Doctor some early levels, and Bristleback just could become an unkillable wall of a hero. But yeah, the Thundercat's going to be grabbing a beefy carry in the Sven, who will scale extremely well into the late game, as well as give them a good bit of laning presence. So the Earth Spirit AA and Sven could easily look to make some kills around the map, but actually, this could be a mid, no? So Snarf is playing the OD and possibly will be going mid. We'll have to see, but it could be mid Sven? I think it's mid OD, and that they just run Sven save. But STFU, this looks pretty grim for them. I heavily favor Thundercats draft. There's a lot going for it. They have many ways to cancel the Witch Doctors. Deathboard, they have counters to all of the healing. Bristleback gets that much less tanky when he dies once he hits 10% hit points. Or 11 then 12. So Thundercats have a very intimidating looking draft. They've got a great support duo, an awesome team fight combo, and they scale well, but ST, again, late game Ember Spirit is not something to laugh at, and Bristleback, if he could just control the tempo of this game. Alright, so we'll have to see if ST are going to be able to out-execute Thundercats in this game, and we'll see if this game gets turned up on its head, and despite their weaker draft, maybe they will be able to come out on top. But on the side of Thundercats, we have Snarf playing the Outworld Devourer, a hero that I'm sure everyone has definitely gotten a little bit used to seeing. And then on the Earth Spirit, aka Ebola Spirit, we have Ribs. Then Madkiss is playing the Ancient Apparition. Carwizzle on the Darkseer hero he's played a number of times, and on Sven there is the stand-in Check. Looks like there may be a fight here at this rune. Orb of Venom started on this Earth Spirit. He could grab Rolling Boulder. The slow is extremely strong, but maybe going to get the stun to try to secure that rune for sure. Level 1 fight here, not amazing, but with a 4-second banish and a Rolling Boulder and Cold Feet, or Chilling Touch, this could be really scary. There's the Stormhammer, so lots of control at Thundercats. That Flame Guard is not going to last long at level 1. Yeah, it's already gone, so... But Darkseer should get zoned out here, but this top rune going to be secured by Snarf, and bot rune going to be going to Kessler, so... It looks like one bounty rune for each team, but Bristleback will be going mid. He needs a support here. If he's going mid, they have to camp like the Oracle. I would want the Oracle, because then you could throw the Disarm and really, really mess with him. So if they move the Oracle there, what are they sacrificing? So it's their Ember Spirit solo up against Darkseer. That's pretty annoying, but once you get levels in Flame Guard, it shouldn't be awful. Oh man, it's pretty rough. Oracle is very good against Darkseer too, so they might want to leave him here. He can purge off Surge. Is a very bursty magic damage hero. Has great, as you can see, auto attack animation. But things looking... I'm interested to see how that lane works out, and I think this Bristleback Levexis gonna be in a bit of in a world of hurt. It's not looking good for him. I think it's a really rough lane for him once OD gets Arcane Orb especially. But at top lane, it's Check, Madkiss, and this Earth Spirit gonna be all hanging out together in this tri-lane of theirs, and I think they should look to get aggressive on McKnight, a very easy to kill Witch Doctor, or roam in the mid, maybe get Bristleback. He's pretty beefy, but I think if any draft had like the tools to get a kill like that, it would be Thundercats. And a pull coming out from Konomi, probably gonna get not actually getting spotted out by this ward, not placed far enough up, or actually maybe was just spotted right here. Kessler has the most CS at 5, but it doesn't matter. And oh man, Carwizzle, don't know what hit him. Maybe it was this Oracle. And this camp is dead, so it is possible he went and farmed that camp and then got nearly killed. So that's something that very, very easily could have happened. And now a Rolling Boulder on McKnight. He's slowed up, but the shield going to purge off that cold feet, which probably wasn't going to amount to anything. And Sven was not there to throw out a hammer in order to get that out. But with the Abaddon shield, the Aphotic shield, McKnight was probably going to be just fine. It would have purged off all that control. So this tri-lane's going to have to be really careful because I think that's weird that that's happening, but they're going to want to make sure they don't soak too much XP away from Sven. They really want this Sven to grab some levels. And yep, there is Spirit rotating into the mid lane. Arcane Orb really chunking away at this Bristle, but that Helphill attack missed, but Bristle forced to use his salve, and that's going to make this lane that much harder. Flame Guard popped in the back. He's not going to be able to farm it. Rushing and Naked Battle Fury is something you do not see that often. And in fact, getting a point of Sleight of Fist at level 4, another thing you do not see that often. There's two popular Ember Spirit builds right now, and I'm just going to talk about this briefly. Where you go Ring of Aquila, Poor Man's Shield, Travels, Battle Fury, either another Battle Fury or crit, and then I have Scotty, Daedalus, what have you. Or you go Power Treads, Blink Dagger, Battle Fury, Travels, then Travels can be thrown in at any time, but then regular Ember items, and that's the battle build. So there's the split push build and then the battle build, and this guy could go for either, considering he just wants this Battle Fury, or maybe just maybe that regen just so he's able to stand up to this and man the Oracle. Also able to purge off the Ion Shell, so Oracle, this is why you want him in the lane here, but Bristleback gonna be struggling, although he only has 6 CS to OD's 14, but at least their Ember is off to a really good start, and maybe that's all they care about. In the top lane, meanwhile, Check doing decently himself, but a level behind this Ember Spirit. So this is what Thundercats need to be worried about. Their tri-lane's not doing that much work. They're not getting any kills. It is hard to get kills, though, up against an Abaddon and a Witch Doctor, the cask and all that healing. But, looks like a bit of a miscommunication there, and Rolling Boulder coming in. They're slowing up Night Errant, but he has his shield up and then gets stunned, but maybe not quite able to get the shield up. Aphotic shield is popped, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, and he denies himself with a missed coil. Fantastic play, but now McKnight body blocked in by Ribs. Ribs needs to be careful, though. Might get right-clicked to death by this Witch Doctor and the creeps, but no, not quite. And Madkiss drawing the first blood despite an amazing deny play from the Abaddon, played by Night Errant, and this lane just got very interesting, but that's exactly what Thundercats needed to happen. And although that Abaddon did not give away any gold or experience, and again, well played by Night Errant, he did die, and that's all I think Thundercats want. They get that bit of extra kill gold, they get some XP, and they force them to TP into lane and lose out on a little bit of XP. And a good body block here by the Earth Spirit, Ribs. So just great play from Thundercats and even ST, so both these teams playing very, very well, and again, this is the playoffs, and they have to be playing well if they don't want to go home after this series. So Carwizzle kind of struggling, he's only level 4, but probably not too worried. In the mid lane, still going very, very well, but man, Kessler's CS is great. He's got 30 CS at 5 minutes, and a Perseverance already completed. He's going to be rushing that Battle Fury. He is not thinking about anything but that, and honestly, I think he can get away with it. But he can get away with it as of now because he's not being punished. I think Thundercats have the lineup to punish him for this build. And TP coming in. It's going to be a long duration snare, but it's not going to quite be enough. The cask didn't bounce, and Snarf actually going to throw in some trade. And They might try to turn on this. A kick hits. Konami gets stunned up. Rolling Boulder comes on and connects. Snarf disarmed, though. And now, is Konami going to die? Maybe just yes, he's going to. But, uh-oh. Ribs in trouble. Rolling Boulder cooling down. Kicks out of silence. But Levexis gets the kill anyways. So it's a support trade. Bristleback and Outworld getting the kills. So probably a very, very even trade. And in fact, yes, it is. So everyone pretty even. This game is extremely even right now, although this Ember Spirit is last hitting very, very well. Almost 15 CS ahead, and Carwizzle struggling here. And this could be bad if he loses his... He needs to kill the Ion Shell creep before it kills his Flame Guard, and he does so he's just fine. Alexis doesn't have Boots rushing that... Or maybe they... Yeah, Boots just got brought to him, okay. So he's probably going to be going a Vanguard. I'm not really a fan of Vanguard, but... He doesn't want to get a mech this game. Because right now his team is very focused on having all of this healing. And against an Ancient Apparition, that's really risky to kind of go all in on the healing strat. Not to say the healing won't be useful. The AAL does not have a 100% uptime. But uh-oh, this Flame Guard probably not going to be around all that much longer if he's not careful with it. But yeah, now it's gone. And with Flame Guard gone, there's not a lot of kill potential for Ember Spirit here. And in fact, he's going to get very, very low. But is level 6, does not have a Remnant sitting in the back. Might want to be... thinking about that, and OTP coming in. Looks like there was a dive attempted at the top lane. Checks God Strength was popped, but not the end of the world. And a pretty... So, at higher levels, we've seen a lot of people get 1 point in this and then max the Cleave and the Warcry, and it's a totally farm-focused Sven. And what you do is you get a Helm of the Dominator, you stack Ancients, and you just get massive. You get like a Daedalus, like a Moonshard, a BKB, a Blink Dagger, and you just become crazy. But... A lot of these players in the 82L value the Stormhammer. They like the burst. They like the early kill potential it gives. So, and Thundercats definitely have a lineup with early kill potential. So maybe they're looking to maximize that. So Kessler, 51 CS, almost 20 now ahead of this guy, and closing in on that Battle Fury. He could have it before 10 minutes if his farm keeps up like this. So Thundercat's going to have to be real nervous about that. But without a Boots of Travel, his split push isn't amazing. Although he could still have his travels very, very quickly. Madkiss and Konami fighting it up. But honestly, Oracle's going to win this fight. But maybe not alone. And now Ribs rolls in. And Konami, uh-oh, in trouble. Magic Immune. But it's not going to be enough. But a great cast bouncing once, twice. But nope. Still not enough. And Knight Errant not quite able to get there to try to shield up and save his teammate. So... well played and a good and welcome pickoff for Thundercats. But again, this Ember Spirit is just going crazy in the bot lane. But man, now that there's ranks in that Ion Shell, things are looking way less simple. And an Iron Talon picked up on the Darkseer. Pretty peculiar, but it does accelerate your farm regardless of which hero you are. Level 3 on this Earth Spirit and level 4 on the Ancient Apparition. Both these heroes have massive team fighting ultimates, and the AAL is more important. I would like to see them relegate a little bit of lane to the Ancient Apparition. It looks like they're doing just that. I don't think he should necessarily be soaking from the OD, but definitely leave the Earth Spirit just kind of roaming, stacking, doing his own thing till the AA gets 6. Then maybe give him a lane. Kessler though, only about 500? No. 800 gold from his Battle Fury, but man, he's got to be really careful. That Flame Guard could disappear very quickly under the weight of that Ion Shell, especially a double Ion Shell. Needs to kill the Ion Shell creep. Uh-oh, Kessler, your Flame Guard is gone and all your tankiness with it, but nothing's going to quite happen from there. And Snarf throwing out a Banish to farm up the wave just a little bit. Level 5 now on this Ancient Apparition. But the CS, man, Kessler's farming really well, and Thundercats gonna have to deal with this Ember. They have the tools to deal with the Ember, but maybe they're not too worried about him coming online. Don't quite realize how farmed he is. Carr now level 7. We're going the Mechanism first. No surprises. McKnight stacking up that Ancients. Ribs, are they looking for something here? No, probably just tossing out a Banish to farm. Castify, gonna bounce to him, but just a zoning casket. Madkiss in check now, pushing up in this lane. And it looks like it will be Helm of the Dominator as Sven's first item. Ribs trying to place an aggressive ward, but gets spotted out and just gonna back off. Thinks better of it, doesn't want to get his ward dewarded, gonna try to do it under a bit of cover this next time. Knight Errant has Tranquil Boots. I'm very curious to see what he goes next. We see Vlad's, we see Blink Daggers, I see Blade Mail is a very popular Abaddon item. Uh-oh, does Snarf have Hammer? No, he does not, but maybe wishing he did. But, oh, God! Look at this! 39 maximum mana. That's the strength of the Outworld Devourer that we're seeing, and Snarf just looking to get really aggressive in this lane. Has 30 stolen intelligence. That is absolutely insane. So Carwazul getting there, and Battle Fury now finished on the Ember. They really need to get the courier to him. They should probably send it back to Fountain and just take it from the Witch Doctor, who just brought his urn. That Battle Fury is worlds more important. Or even throw a Remnant here, grab a TP scroll, and then teleport to lane, and then just jump back and get ready to farm. It looks like up at the top lane, the Abaddon ult is popped, and AA does have Ice Blast, but doesn't want to commit it just yet. Cast to bounce, but no Death Ward, and Abaddon's not really great at that follow-up, especially without any points of Curse and Burns, and uh-oh, the Ice Blast flying in towards the bot lane. Are they going to be able to get it on Kessler? They're really looking for him. Ribs is down here. They could dive with this. If it connects, Kessler might find himself dead, but no, it's not going to find the mark, and it will miss, and now 3 heroes up top. Check, being chased up, but control not quite there for ST. So first Ice Blast of the game, not quite what they were looking for, but given how the rest of their lane... So despite this Ember farming really, really well, and uh-oh, Kessler gets rolled in on, but gonna find a kill, 1 kill, and very likely 2. The Flame Guard doing so much damage, and now Searing Change is cooling down, and Ribs gonna die too. So a double kill for Kessler. This Ember Spirit making plays all over the place, and now Thundercats are gonna have to be really worried about this guy. OT is great against Ember, though. You've got Banish, you've got Arcane Orb, you can go a Scythe. There's lots of ways they could deal with him. And the Earth Spirit Silence is going to be critical in dealing with him. So now 3 heroes up top. They're maybe looking for a kill here, and a Storm Hammer to fly, and Konomi, you're in serious, but purged off from the Aphotic Shield. Ice Blast coming out. Is it going to connect? It does connect on 3 heroes. Kessler jumped into it too. Might be a little anxious about this. Sven trying to fight up, but a little bit nervous. Maybe they turn out on Kessler. Kessler is very low, and Ice Blast, and now, oh god, Strength still up in Silence, and no getting out of that one. Got a little bit greedy, and his momentum might be a little bit quelled, and gave not that much gold, but uh-oh. Knight Errant gets rolled in on, but now Levexis is here. He's chasing up. Carwazul not scared of him, but Mac is completely out of mana. Check, just gonna TP to safety if he can help it, and this Bristle just doing so much damage. Is he gonna be able to get it? No, Mac is able to TP to safety just in time, so very level-headed play from Thundercats, finding their way out of that, cutting their losses, in fact, not losing anyone, and getting that Ember Spirit, a huge kill, and a kill they desperately needed to find. But he's still going boots, and maybe going to grab those travels after all. It's really up to him what he wants. He has a lot of gold in the bank, and if he goes travels as his next item, it is by no means going to be late. Ice Blast did come out, but I don't think it connected on anything. Probably, yeah, flew bot, didn't really connect on anything, and now the top tower being pressured by Thundercats, but several rotations coming in, and it looks like they really want to deny this tower. So first tower of the game will in fact be denied by Thundercats, and currently the game, despite how well it looked for every other lane, this Ember Spirit is really farmed, and he's going to be going phase boots, probably, maybe Chrysalis and just ignore the boots, but I kind of doubt it. So Kessler is definitely going to be the player to watch in this game, I think, especially for ST. Snarf hasted up. Maybe just grabbing this other rune. Yeah, probably just going to do that. Oh no, just in fact going to ignore that bounty rune and run to the bot. He really wants to get Kessler, but he does have a Remnant safetied up in the back and probably just going to be just fine. He can jump to safety at any time, and yeah, he does exactly that. Dragonlance finished now on the OD, so we could see drums, and uh-oh. Carwazul? Nope, not getting chased up in the mid. He's just fine, but on the OD, there's several popular items builds, but lately you see drums, Aquila, power treads, blink daggers, Force Staff still very popular, Moon Shard, lots of attack speed, and lots of just good mid-gamey items. Oh, and BKB, of course, is very useful. Is very, very good on the hero, and uh-oh. Check, looking in an AA Blast to fly, connecting on all 3 heroes. McKnight might die before this fight even gets, and an awesome back wall on 3. Knight Errant, that ult won't save you, and Levexis, he's going down too, and just delaying the inevitable, but the shield comes out, buying just a tiny bit of time, maybe going to try to deny himself, but not quite able to get it, but now Kessler's here and just finds one, but oh no, great stun to save his teammates. Is he going to be able to get there and just jump back, but He doesn't really want to get back in there, so awesome play from Thundercats, just made possible by Ribs and Carwizzle finding amazing synergy together and setting up for 2 quick kills. 3 kills, actually, and great play from Thundercats, executing an awesome teamfight combo, and it's exactly the strength of their draft, and a great stun from Check, saving probably not just the Darkseer, but the Earth Spirit as well. That Ember was definitely looking for something, and an Ice Blast to fly doesn't hit on anyone. We're not going to kill anyone anyway, but now Mecha is included on Car. Those dives going to become a lot less dangerous now for Thundercats. So ST, they need to try to split the map the best they can. Look for pickoffs with your Witch Doctor and your Bristle and Oracle. Kind of maybe fight as 4 in like a unit while the Ember split pushes. And they could go for Roche pretty easily. I think Roshan would help them a lot. They have Nasal Goo, so Roche isn't going to be that tough. And they have lots of healing to make sure it happens, but up against an AA is risky, but that's one of the ways they can get back into this game. And meanwhile, in mid, Konomi just going to get popped very quickly, pops his ult, trying to heal himself, but might turn around now. Kessler jumping forward, Madkus in danger, and in fact, he's going to pop to the Oracle's Purifying Flames, sorry. I don't really understand the Oracle, I just know he's a very strong hero, but this kind of thing is what ST want. They just want some nice, safe pickoffs, and I would have liked to see the travels because it would have been good for them to just split push. But Levex is in another great back wall, but is it going to be enough? Sanity's Eclipse just ruining McKnight's life. And Kessler, not enough mana to Remnant to safety. Is he going to be able to get away? He has no mana, no phase boost to switch to, nothing. He's trying to deny himself to the Ancients, and yes, will do it. Great play from Kessler. These ST guys great at denying themselves, and Levex is very low, but AA Blast is off cooldown. He's letting it fly. He's looking. Oh, man, they're going to see it fly over. They know it's coming. They have to. Oh, Levexis, no! Great shot from Madkus, though, but is it going to be enough? Is he going to tick down? He might survive. In fact, with this back turned, he's taking next to no damage. And may just barely survive, so despite a good shot, Bristleback way too tanky to go down there. Magnetize was also committed in the mid lane, but it wasn't terribly effective there. It wasn't a great usage of the spell, but Check farming up, and now the last hit's way less telling than the net worth. OD sitting at the top, very happy there, and followed by the Ember, who is right above the Sven, but maybe not for that much longer. Sven farms just as fast, and the reason I favor Ember getting travels is because if fights aren't working out, you can just TP, split push, and farm until you get a ton of items, get like a Manta style, because this game I think he would want a Manta style, get out of all these debuffs. Get yourself Lincoln's if you really want it. Lincoln's, Manta, and then probably Travels, Battle Fury, Daedalus, all that stuff. And massive Ancient stack here. I think if ST had a ward here and spotted out, they could farm it up very quickly with their Ember Spirit, something they might want to try to do. Another thing, they need to use smokes. They lack a lot of control, but they are pretty bursty. So maybe just go in as 5, try to burst down a support or something. It's just so hard for them to find an in. If Thundercats play as 5, it's very difficult for them to get in like that, especially now that Check has just completed a Blink Dagger. And it looks like they're grouping up the bot lane. Odile on cooldown, and Rada Atos is going to be Snarf's next item. I love this game. It's going to be so hard for Abaddon and Bristle to really contribute that much to the fight when they're just locked down, and Carwizzle running in. He has a vacuum. The Rolling Boulder comes out, but they're very far back, and now that Kask is just going to bounce between 2 heroes, but a good vac anyway. AA Blast flies, doesn't hit on anyone, though. And they might have come too deep. Mech already committed. Kessler arrives, Snarf banishes himself, and Carwizzle on the run. He's Maledicted up, Stormhammer to fly, and Godstraight committed. He's hitting so hard, but False Promise, and it's not going to be enough. He's all by himself now, and he's not going to be able to find anything. Check, he needs some help, but there's no one around. Thundercats have to bail. They dived too deep and committed too much too early to make that fight worth their while. So this is exactly what ST needed to wait for. They lost no heroes in that. That fight recap, a colossal gold swing, 3.5k in favor of ST. Fantastic play from them so far. The Abaddon ult has been popped, but no AA to throw an ult. And it's actually coming down right now. But all this healing might not be enough, and no one should die here. Yeah, they've got their tools, and yeah, that's not the TP you want. You do not want that. So good call, canceling that TP, Ribs. So Thundercats, their draft is very strong, but they're just being a little bit outplayed right now by ST, and that's what I was worried about. If they can find their stride, though, they can definitely come back into this. I still think ST should grab Roshan. They can kill it very quickly with the Bristle's Nasal Goo, and you don't want to be fighting up against an Aegis up OD. I think the next big item timings for Thundercats are BKB Sven, BKB OD. Once they get the double BKBs, there's no searing change, there's no flame guard damage, there's no cast bounce, there's no purifying flames, there's no disarm. There's a lot of things that just suddenly don't matter. But ST definitely keeping very level-headed in this game, and honestly, thanks to that Ember Spirit, they're not that far behind in that net worth graph in that last fight, dragging it up in favor of ST, who are now just barely behind, and actually just barely ahead on the XP. This huge ancient stack, though, is it finally time? Sven on the way. He does have a DD. Doesn't need to pop his ult, but might want to anyway. Yeah, the cooldown's not long. Yeah, he's just going to clear this stack in no time at all with support soaking some XP, and that's probably also the right way to do it. But a good gold boost for Sven. I think BKB is his next item, but maybe he wants to go crit instead. Maybe a Moon Shard. There's a couple things he could grab, but I would like to see BKB. If they get BKBs, then the OD and the Sven become very, very difficult to kill. And the combo from ST becomes really hard to execute. There's not as much control, and the heroes of Thundercats, who just OD and Sven just want to auto-attack you. And oh, they found Konomi, but are they going to be able to maximize on it? No, Ignite maybe also out of position, but Thundercats just going to back off. They're a little scared here. A good ward placement will be able to spot them out if they hang around this area, so they're going to have to be careful if they take this engage. This ward about to time out. Radabatos now completed from Snarf, just delivered, silenced up, a kick goes, but does not connect on anyone. They're going in, Ignite will be the sacrificial lamb, Magnetize comes out, Konomi in a great vacuum wall, Konomi and Night Errant caught, Konomi instantly dead as well, but Night Errant, False Promise, really delaying the inevitable. He's going to explode when that pops, but a great, all that cleave damage from Kessler. If they find him though, he's in serious trouble, and he makes the right call and just jumps to safety. Meanwhile though, Levexis thinks, I'm not going to go fight that, and just going to split push. That's definitely the correct play. Needs to try to get something for his team. Snarf getting a little far forward. Might want to be careful, but he's just trying to cut the wave to ensure that they can push this tower. Banishes himself. Kessler low on mana, and actually does have crystals now. And oh no! He could be in serious trouble. He doesn't have the mana to remnant and gets silenced and instantly destroyed. And oh, Levexis, that wasn't where you wanted to TP in, buddy. The Ice Blast comes in, but not quite going to connect, and he might just survive thanks to that missed Ice Blast, but banished up. Stormhammer now cooling down, but cast coming out, and oh, the Death Ward, not quite cast though. He may still get it. Oh, God! Lesser Minds eclipsed by Snarf. That OD ult just wiping them off the face of the earth. 3 heroes instantly dead from a Sanity's eclipse. That's going to be a quick tower and a gold swing in favor of Thundercats. Definitely worth losing their Sven. Snarf playing this hero just extremely well, and it's not just him, but the team surrounding him is also very, very good. But damn, that OD ult, so incredible, so impressive. SCFU, I just don't know how to answer that. The gold graph just was looking good for a little while, but now 5k in favor of Thundercats on XP. Probably a similar story going down to almost, yeah, also almost 5k in their favor. And now Rip's trying to build up another Ancient stack. So the economy of Thundercats has also been pretty good this game, although, well, better than that of ST, who have not had any stacks that I have seen. They have a small Ancient stack here, but I haven't seen that many other stacks in the jungle. Granted, I will be honest, I have not looked that much, but a smoke up from the Thundercats. They're looking out, maybe trying to get Roche. They can kill it pretty quickly themselves, honestly. With just the damage, the pure damage from the OD and then the Sven, just pretty easy for them to bring down Roshan. They're waiting their heroes out here. They don't want to get caught in the pit against an Ember Spirit. That could be very dangerous. And the lack of control from ST, though, after that last little skirmish, it would turn, well, skirmish turned massacre, starting to kind of show in the early mid-game fights where Thundercats didn't really have items, didn't really have their spells and levels. It was favoring ST, who just had better damage in the early game. But as it goes late, the Bristleback's damage falls off, the Abaddon's damage really falls off, and OD and Sven just never fall off. The Ice Blast not going to connect again, but it's not a long cooldown, so not awful to miss that. So Ribs has a Blink Dagger now, so get ready for, I expect his next item could be Veil or Ags. There's kind of, it depends. I like the Ags more. The utility of the pull on your teammates is way too much, and with the Blink Dagger, you can still Blink, Remnant, kick someone into your team, and just destroy them. Uh-oh, this Ancient stack, it's not a big one, but it still matters for them. Kessler's farm has kind of fallen off, and uh-oh. Is he forced to build a BKB? That's an extremely poor item on Ember Spirit. It's one you don't want. You just want snowbally, damagey items on Ember, and Radamatos has been popped on the Vexus. He's getting his int stolen up, and now the cask will bounce, but Snarf disarmed and purged up, but the purge, I think, actually removed the disarm. Yeah, this OD not afraid at all, and Aegis sitting on top of Sven, so this next fight gonna look really bad for them, and oh god, his ult's cooling down and he has so much intelligence. If he drops the Sanity's Eclipse, this could be huge. But that magnetize on 4 heroes, and look for the Sanity's Eclipse coming out any second now, and the AA Blast to connect, and man, these heroes are melting on the side of ST. Things are looking really good. Snarf has stolen 80 intelligence. Konomi on the run, but not quite able to get away from this fence. Stormhammer comes out, and the False Promise, and a False Promise indeed simply will delay the inevitable, or perhaps just barely surviving in the end. Kessler trying his best to clear these waves, but his damage isn't quite there, and his farm too. It's not as high as he wants, but the cleave might pop the Aegis, and no, not quite, just barely. But Snarf holding on to that Sanity's Eclipse, and he has still 60 intelligence stolen. So Thundercats have just found their stride, really found where they're going, and ST, they've got decent high ground defense, but Thundercats could easily get up in that high ground very quickly. The Sven still has Aegis for at least 2 more minutes. 3k gold could go BKB. You have the OD, who is very, very tanky, the Guardian Greaves, and an Earth Spirit, who will be able to blink in and kick enemies onto the low ground. So there's a lot of ways for Thundercats to get onto the high ground and break the defense of ST. And that's got to be worrisome. That's got to be really scary. Yeah, Check's just going to come up here to farm a bit. He has his HOD, so doesn't need to walk back to base at all. Caruso probably going to go Blink Dagger next, and Courier coming to Snarf. What you got there, Snarf? And it looks like that is a Shiva's Guard. If not complete, yeah, it is complete. So now even more intelligence on this Outward Devourer, and even more beef. And the attack speed slow is not... It's great. It's good against Ember. It's good against Bristle. It's not amazing because their damage comes from their abilities like Sleight of Fist and Curl Spray, but still, that armor is going to be really, 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 really hard for them to deal with. And Vladimir's offering finally completed for Knight Errant, but BKB and Shiva's now finished on the side of Thundercats. So Check and Snarf going to be able to go and do as they please. And Blink Dagger very nearly completed on this Darkseer. Carwizzle has had a very good game. His vac walls have been awesome, and just Thundercats have been playing more as a team than ST. It is possible for ST to come back, but it is difficult to come back from a nearly 12k gold disadvantage. It is not unheard of, but it is difficult, and XP is also around 12k. Thundercats, though, they have another 3-ish, 2.5 minutes on that Aegis, so they could go for a while on it if they want. They're running around the jungle dewarding, and taking away ST's jungle is a great way to make sure that they don't come back into this game. Mechanism now completed on the Oracle, but again, with this Ancient Apparition, it's not amazing. If anyone's hit by the Ice Blast, they lose a lot of that power of that item. And these Witch Doctors, these Death Wards have either not come out yet or just have been cancelled the moment that they do come out. It's very hard. I have not seen a Death Ward be very effective. So support play on Thundercats is just much better. And unfortunately, there's not really that much catch on ST. They don't really have a way to start fights. Their only way is to just slight Searing Chains, and that's not very reliable. Whereas Thundercats have a Blink on Sven, they have the Earth Spirit, and the Darkseer. So they have lots of ways to start fights on the side of Thundercats, but just not very many for ST. And yep, that is going to be a BKB on the Ember Spirit, an item he really doesn't want to build. It does not offer the hero that many useful tools. Sven just picked up BKB and sitting on 2k gold. Snarf just picked up Shiva's and sitting on 1k. Clearing out the creep way, make sure that the push keeps going, and DD now active on Snarf, so this tower going to disappear. Aegis was reclaimed, so excuse me, I apologize, I'm a little bit sick, but that's at least a bright spot for ST. And oh, the Bleak Dagger on the Earth Spirit too, so he doesn't even need to Rolling Boulder. But BKB just finished on the Bristle. That's much more important than the BKB finished on the Ember, who probably could have gone more damage and just kind of skirted around fights and tried to defend high ground. Like, if he invested in more damage, it would have been an investment in high ground defense for him. Because he doesn't need to get into the middle of these fights. He can just grab, he can just slight from the high ground, kill the creep wave, and maybe even get a kill with cleave. But he really wants to battle with this build, the phase boots, and he's certainly going to do it. And it's just really hard for him to do so. He was doing so well at the beginning, but now is behind in net worth against the Sven and the OD, a place he does not want to be. His team is counting on him to be the top of the net worth to make sure that these fights can go in their favor. And Snarf sitting on 2.2k gold. Could get a BKB of his own. Could go a Sheep Stick. Just more int to drop the hammer even harder than he already does. It's probably going to be a Glimmer Cape on McKnight. Not a bad choice, but there's a lot of AoE cancel for Thundercats. And Carwizzle just shoving him with Ion Shells best he can. So lots of pressure all over the map coming up from Thundercats. Ancient Apparition about 1,600 gold away from his Aghanim Scepter. And once he gets that, these fights are going to be real rough. So ST, if they can defend, I'm going to say 2 high grounds and get Roche. I think it's like no less than 2 dominant team fights and a Roshan for them to get back in this game. Their jungle has been taken from them. They've got BKB on the Ember, but they probably want to get Daedalus before they really do anything. As for Bristleback, Crimson Guard's not going to be a great item for the Bristle this game. There's not a lot of auto attack type stuff to cancel. Pipe. Bristle should get a Pipe, and then Ember gets Daedalus. And I know it's easier said than done, but I believe that is how they can get back. One of the ways they can get back into this game. And aggressive smoking is not a bad choice either. Roshan up in 5 seconds, but unfortunately they're not going to quite find anyone here, and Ember is just going to farm up the enemy jungle. And he's just trying to do his best to... I think he should have cut the wave up top. Actually, yeah, that would have been a really good play. He cuts the wave up here, then jumps back, and then farms. I think that would have been better, because it was... So he was farming that, and the wave was like here. He was probably right here when he was farming that camp. So I think that would have really helped alleviate some of the pressure. Kind of giving them some more map to work with, because right now they're working with this much map. And it's so hard to come into the game with a hero like Bristle, who is just so team fight focused, and Abaddon and Wish Doctor. They've got these team fight focused, AoE damage focused heroes who aren't able to fight. Whereas Thundercats are more than happy to let the game go on and on and on. They know they have the late game in the bag. This Ember Spirit's farm is not nearly good enough to keep up. The net worth graph just continuing to slide down in the favor of Thundercats. ST need to find some objective. Maybe they smoke into Roshan. They could kill it modestly quickly. They do have max nasal goo now, so the armor reduction is very, very good. So the high ground defense, though, with a Death Ward, with an Ember Spirit, and with the Bristle able to just tank up with his BKB, they do have, ST do have decent high ground defense, but Thundercats have all the tools and more to break that high ground, and a DD on Sven might be their go, like their signal to go, especially if they spot out Roche. They'll at least go Roche. So ST need to find some objective, and Madcus now knows it's here. AC completed on Sven, so this next Roshan could be high ground and could be the game. With that AC, towers will just dissolve, and 3k gold, almost 4k, still on Snarf. Yeah, this Roche is very, 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 very squishy right now, and Gem on Madcus has been for a while. I believe it was actually picked up by someone else, but this is going to be a Sheep Stick from the Darkseer. And they're going to give the Aegis to OD instead. Check probably doesn't need it. He's very tanky. So far, though, very, very little item progression coming out from anyone except this Ember Spirit, who, even though he's farming pretty nicely, his item progression is not great. It really isn't. In fact, he has an energy booster. What does energy booster build into? I know there's a push, and I apologize, but Aether Lens? Octarine Core? There's not a lot of good he can make of this. I can sort of see Aether Lens for the increased sleight of fist range. But, oh, this Warcry, oh, that's one thing I didn't touch on at all this game. But Warcry doing work at stopping this sleight of fist cleave. I mean, that plus 20 armor makes all these heroes so incredibly tanky. And, oh, man, they really want to go in on this. And, oh, man, that Snarf hitting so hard. Luckily, that cast bouncer, he might have tried to go in on someone. Snarf doesn't really need to be afraid, and Madkus denying that mid tower, but this high ground siege is not slowing down anytime soon. But Sven, you don't have the Aegis, buddy. So Chet gonna go down, but a double kill quickly given for Snarf. Buyback immediately, and oh man, this fight looks like it's bad. It's a good high ground defense so far. Banished up, and Snarf wants to get out of there. Doesn't want to throw away his Aegis just yet. Ribs way back here, just caught out. But Kessler dead for quite some time, and great stun and a great magnetize, but Ribs still probably gonna go down. Snarf has the Aegis, but is this gonna be enough? Does he have the backup? Carwizzel hanging out on the side. Maybe gonna go in and help, but no BKB on this Bristlebag. It could be a rough fight. Surged up and now stunned up now, but just gonna try to TP to safety. I don't think they quite have the stun, but the stun does come out, and now Snarf gonna go down. So a good high ground defense, even though it was a little bit expensive. Oh, a good banish, but they're not quite able to get anything out of it, and Snarf will just pop to the Abaddon shield, and great fight for STFU and a good high ground defense. Unfortunately, Abaddon did have to buy back, and they did lose their Ember Spirit still, but it's still a high ground defense for them. I really don't I think it was just massive misplay from Czech. I guess he thought he had the Aegis, because he was just standing on high ground taking a huge beating, and even with that buyback, a 3.4k gold swing in favor of STFU, and XP also about 5k in favor of ST, so these graphs going to be looking a little less scary for the STFU fans out there. So items now completed, and let's see, with Snarf dead, that was a lot of gold. But again, they should have just given the Aegis to Sven. OD, it should have been switched around. Like OD, so Czech just died. Like as soon as the fight started, he just sat there getting harassed the entire time, and then died before he could do anything. What they should have had Snarf standing here and Czech back here. Let Snarf tank up everything, then go in once the Aegis pops, or go in as soon as the opportunity presents itself. But now this is going to slow down the Thundercats' pushing ability, and Sight the Vice just instantly bought up on Snarf. Pretty much complete, like just entirely completed, and this could be another Scythe for it's not bad to get another Scythe. They don't have very good defensive items, but yeah, that's an Aether Lens Ember Spirit. That is very odd, and I don't know how much it's actually going to help. It doesn't give him any damage. Sure, it increases your Flame Guard damage like a microscopic amount, increases Searing Chains damage a tiny amount, but honestly, it's not a great item for Ember Spirit. I find that very odd, and I think that's an extremely poor item choice. So Madkus, only 400 gold from his... let's check the career. 400 gold, yeah, 400 gold now from his Aghanim Scepter. So that 17-second Ice Blast will be coming out fairly soon. Yeah, okay, so I think Kessler, who has played great, has just built... his itemization has been poor. His mechanical play has been pretty good, but his itemization is poor. The BKB is not going to do that much for an Ember Spirit, if I'm being honest. This hero doesn't want as much damage as he can get. If he wanted a defensive item, Manta Style would have been the better choice. The Aether Lens is just terrible on him. I mean, this is nice, I guess. This does not actually get longer range. This has longer range, but its range was already really long to begin with. But I'm just going to stop harping on that and just kind of take a look everywhere else. So 1.8k on the Oracle. Could go like a Medallion. I would like to see a Medallion or a Solar Crest. And Veil of Discord completed on Ribs, so the magic damage of Thundercat's going to be even higher now. And Mac is doing his best to farm up that Aghanim Scepter. I think that's fine. I think it's okay he's not with the team right now. He really wants and kind of needs that Ags. Roshan up, not up for another 3 minutes, and maybe Thundercats just want to wait for that. That wouldn't be a bad play, and this time just give the Aegis to Sven. Or if Sven doesn't have the Aegis, again, just don't have him stand right here in front of the tower to get beat on. That was very questionable decision making. And now, the Ancient Apparition completing his Aghanim Scepter. See, Bristleback going in a Radiance. I don't really like that. I think Pipe would have been so much better for the team. Maybe someone else is getting a Pipe. Maybe that's Oracle's next item. Maybe Abaddon's going to get it, but Abaddon's going the Aghanim Scepter, which I do like. I think that's good. It will really help with the AoE damage of the Thundercats, get it reduced a bit. Sven's next item could be Moon Shard, could be Daedalus. There's a lot of options for this Sven especially. So Ribs, if he wants to go the Ags, it will be quite a while. Do they still have the gem though? Yeah, gem's still on Madkiss, so they're gonna sweep through this jungle, kind of clear everything out. And that's going to be a scythe. If it's not completed, it will be soon. And yep, it is. So 2 scythes on Thundercats, but there is BKBs. Again, I just don't think this Ember's gonna do enough anymore. It's 41 minutes. His cleave isn't enough, especially against a Sven Warcry. Daedalus or Desolator would have been a decent choice, not an amazing choice, but given the circumstances of the game, with a Sven and the Warcry, it's not a terrible choice, and it's a very cheap item to boost your damage up by a fairly significant amount. This game dragging on into the 40-minute mark, and I think the later it goes, the more it favors the Thundercats. I mean, you're talking about an OD and a Sven here, and the supports on their side scale a lot better. Oracle does not scale poorly, but Earth Spirit's damage is great throughout the entire game, and he got a Veil. And Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast is just one of the best ultimates in Dota, probably. It's extremely, extremely strong. Roshan will be up fairly soon. Now that looks like a little under a minute, I believe. And that's the Radiance, which is okay. Again, it's okay, but it's late. It's not like this is a Radiance he got 12 to 15 minutes ago. This is like, okay, I have Radiance at 42 minutes. Radiance at this stage of the game isn't really that good. At least the damage isn't. The mischance is still going to be pretty good. So again, not an awful choice, but the itemization on the side of ST just doesn't feel like it's there all the way. I think Blade Mail would have been better for Knight Errant. I think the mech was kind of not an amazing choice. They have tons of healing already. They're up against an Ancient Apparition who's going to counter the healing. So maybe like a Solar Crest would have been better. Or even like a Medallion into like Force Staff for his own personal mobility would have been better. Yeah, this Ember's damage is not enough. He does not do nearly enough damage. But Oracle actually going to grab a Blink Dagger. I like that. I like that pickup a lot. I'm glad I didn't get the Guardian Greaves. But Snarf has something flying out to him now. It's like a BKB. So a completed, or not quite completed, but very close to completed. A very close to completed BKB on the way to Snarf. Nope, completed BKB. Oh, he disassembled his Dragon Lance. That item is value, guys. He could go Orchid or even Butterfly. Not a terrible choice. Now BKB scouted out. This is going to be the 3rd Roshan for Thundercats, and ST just letting too much get away from them. They don't have any map to farm. Their Ember Spirit really does not do that much damage. At least he has the 1 crit item, but it feels like he should be one-shotting creep waves. A smoke, not going to find anything. Very unfortunate. They could use any kills that they could find. So this game looking really rough for ST, and honestly with this Roche, this Aegis and Cheese, I think they should just start thinking about the next game. They're now down about 20k gold and 20k experience. So they almost certainly want to be thinking about the next game. Something on the way to this Ancient Apparition. It looks like it's just a ward. So they're going to be Thundercats once again grouping up bot lane. They're on the move. Sven should just sit on high ground with his Aegis and kill the tower, honestly. I am shocked that he didn't do that earlier. But everyone on the side of ST grouped up there. Unfortunately, is it going to be enough? Is this going to be it? Are they going to be able to make this defense too? But Aegis and Cheese, really hard to fight into. And a snare goes out, but not quite anything. Magus wants to find a good AA blast to start this out. Kessler off to the side, does have that nice long range on his Sleight of Fist thanks to the Aether Lens, but again, just maybe not quite enough damage. Fortification already popped, and Czech just going to back off till that ends, probably. Madkus hanging up on the high ground, staying in the back. This positioning on these supports is pretty good. They know once a fight breaks out, once OD or Sven is engaged upon, they can jump in. And actually, 10-second BKB still on Snarf and Sven. So this fight, Thundercats have everything available to them. And I mean, so do ST, but Thundercats have more available to them is probably a better way to put it. The Vexus hexed up. Is this going to be something? A big ult and a huge combo so far. Kessler, the Oracle, instantly blown up. A Blast connects on 2 heroes. It flies over McKnight, but they're probably not going to get him here. BKB on. Levexus, though, could be in trouble. Stunned up. Now the Slight comes out, doing some good damage, and Sven still has his BKB. Cheese eaten by Snarf. He might go down to the tower here, and yes, it looks like Czech will be popping to a tower here, or maybe not. No, just doing so much damage, but going to go down to the Urn Charges. Snarf just chunking away at these enemy heroes. Look at McKnight just die to him, and man, Kessler invisible currently and jumping away to safety, so good play, trying to get himself away from there, and Snarf going to banish himself up to try to avoid some damage from the Malediction, and needs to be really careful. Pops that Shiva's Guard, and will survive the final tick. Czech, though, in trouble. Are Thundercats going to be able to get this? Uh-oh. Kessler getting caught by that, and now hexed up by Carr. Czech going to town. Kessler going to die here. No buyback, or buyback is available, but McKnight also going to pop. Nope, they don't have that gem. Mag is not sitting quite in range. False Promise popped on Texas really early. That was an extremely Oracle ult from Konami, and it might turn around on them, but this Rax, are they going to be able to save it with this, though? But that, yeah, Warcry, he does not really care about any of this damage. Warcry was purged off just now, though. Disarm again. They need to be attacking this. I think it's a mistake. They have their BKB up cooldown. They have Hex ready if they want it. I feel like Thundercats are kind of playing a little too scared at this. I get that they are a little worried about going down here, but now no buyback, so they finally do go in. McKnight hexed up and going to go down as well, so a double kill for Snarf. He's 14-2 and 5. Man, this OD is going crazy. But Levexus now tanky and in the mid, has his BKB popped. No escape for that OD. And OD. Yeah, actually, OD going to be going down. Pops his BKB. Silence and a kick. Vexus might be finding himself in trouble, but Konami is here now, purged off the Magnetize, so all of Earth Spirit's damage gone. Is the gem still on the deck? Who picked it up? I believe it was Levexus. Or maybe Courier? Oh, why did that happen? It looks like the Courier got it, or maybe this Abaddon got it. Or did Carr get it? Carr managed to go back and grab it. Okay, so gem was finally picked up. So a good fight, and I apologize for missing the fight recap. I was a little distracted trying to find that gem, and thanks to those buybacks, the fight favored Thundercats, they're now closing in on a 25k gold lead. They did lose their Sven, and I just feel like they were really cautious in that whole engagement. They had their scythes ready, they had all their BKBs ready, they had a lot of their cooldowns up, but just kind of skirted around the edge, and only managed to get 1 Rax off of that. So Thundercats playing a little bit scared, and I can understand why they don't want to throw this game, but they are very strong right now and perhaps underestimate their own strength. So it's going to be an Octarine Core for the Outward Devourer. I would much rather see a Moon Shard, some attack speed, some item to give him some more damage. The Vexus on 3.3k gold. 1.5k for the Oracle. 1.9k for the Witch Doctor, who will just about get his Ags now, actually. And Abaddon still pretty far from his Aghanim Scepter, but this Abaddon has gotten nothing for the past like 15 to 20 minutes. But Ags now completed on McKnight. This could be the item that they need to turn this game around. Both teams sitting on 9 seconds. I think this is 8. 7 second BKB for Levexus, but 9 second BKBs for everyone else. Snarf, his final item of the game will probably be the Octarine, and then he'll do the natural thing of selling the treads into getting your travels. Smoke up here. 2 win 4k gold in this AA. Could go side of his own if he wants. And it looks like it will be Ags for the Earth Spirit. The item will be great at controlling the tempo of these fights and finding some initiations that would otherwise be really difficult to grab. And now A pipe finished on Car, and a pipe not even started for anyone on the side of ST, an item they could benefit greatly from having up against the Earth Spirit, this guy, and even a little bit the OD, but he's mostly pure damage. So there's several heroes on the side of Thundercats that would be really hurt by the pipe, namely the Earth Spirit and the Ancient Apparition, who are doing huge chunks of damage. Someone was drawn up. It looks like they think someone's here, and they would be right if they didn't make that guess. This OD hitting so very hard, probably about for 500-600 every auto attack. Sven could be going for a Satanic as his next item. But oh no, an unfortunate blink in, and a great back wall though, followed by a pretty good Ice Blast, but is it going to connect to that mini? Witch Doctor already dead before he can get his ult off. No buyback available. No, the Vex is so tanky. Going to town, Car in trouble, but Cleric, or Check, also very, very tanky. Car on the run. Now that BKB is ended, there's no place for the Vexus to go, and he's just going to get torn to shreds. What looked like a great initiation from ST. Turns on them so fast on the back of an amazing vac wall from Thundercats. Great play from Thundercats, turning that around and not losing any of their heroes. The Guardian Greaves, the Pipe all coming into play there. No, the Pipe wasn't even used, but great play there, and uh-oh. Without their Witch Doctor, without their Bristleback, can they really defend this? Snarf just wants to tear someone up. Yeah, Snarf standing out in the back. He's tanky. He's not afraid. And meanwhile, I mean, Kessler, what's he going to do? This cleave does not... He kind of just tickles them, it feels like, honestly. Stun hit out onto Kessler, who's now going to get beat up, but gets purged off thanks to the Abaddon, and now Ag's completed on the Earth Spirit. But Ribs... Yeah, he rolls to safety, okay. Yeah, the cleave does not feel like it does that much damage at all. But, oh, God, the Sanity's Eclipse is all it takes to kill Knight Errant. And McKnight, where were you? I don't know what that Witch Doctor was doing up there. Maybe TPing to try to get a sneaky Death Ward in with off of his Glimmer Cape, but didn't happen that way, and this could very well be GG. Thundercats now sitting on top of a near a 30k gold lead. That fight recap giving them just a bit of a boost, and uh-oh. Kessler could be in serious trouble. The AA Blast debuff on him. He won't be healed at all from this, and will probably pop as soon as he gets out of there. Yep, he explodes, and there's no buyback, so this could easily be GG. But Levexis is back up. Very tanky, but not tanky enough. Sven really does not care. Just instantly one-shotting this Oracle, but no, not quite tanky enough to run into the fountain there, Check. And does he have travel boots? He can't afford them, so... GG is finally called. Thundercats dominating this game. A couple missteps from them, but wasn't quite enough for ST to maximize and come back. A big part of this was the draft, but it did feel like Thundercats outplayed them really, really hard. There were a few moments that ST may have had the game, especially when the Ember Spirit was this dominant force, but they just never were able to kind of grab the reins and run forward with the game, so to speak. So well played from Thundercats, and currently STFU find themselves one game away from elimination in the 80-12 Season 10 Entry Division Playoffs, so we'll see if they're going to be able to recover from this, bring themselves back, and tie up the Series 1-1, and then claim that Game 3 for themselves and eliminate the former champions, Thundercats, who are probably looking to defend their title in this series. So, once again, guys, we'll be back with Game 2 here in a few minutes. I hope you stick around, and I hope this next game is just as good as the first one.